Today we're talking about goals. I want to share with you a really powerful framework that allows you to not only create short-term success, but enables you to develop your skills and master face-to-face fundraising. What's up guys, Jules here. So goals are something you are probably very familiar with. As a face-to-face fundraiser, you are probably crystal clear on the goals that you need to achieve on a daily, weekly, and perhaps even a monthly basis. Now, fundraising is ultimately a performance-based role where we actually need to raise funds in order to be effective. So why am I talking about goals today? Well, goals are something, while we talk about them often and we set them often every day, they're something that I don't see achieved consistently. Now, I've worked in face-to-face fundraising for almost 15 years. I've worked across 3 continents, in agencies, in-house programs, and also hybrids across perhaps 26 non-for-profits or more. And I see the same problem time and time again. Fundraisers setting these goals per day, per week, and simply not achieving them. You see, a single-minded focus on a daily or weekly goal, a number of signups you want to get, does not help you actually achieve it. Yes, these are very important. These give you a sense of purpose and direction, right? They give you something to aim for, something to work towards, and they form a very good measure of your performance. But this kind of goal on its own ends up creating a whole host of negative emotions and negative actions and behaviors, right? We can often feel quite frustrated, perhaps desperate, anxious, perhaps even hopeless when we are struggling to achieve a goal that seems perhaps out of reach, or perhaps we know it's possible, but we're not sure we can achieve it. Maybe we doubt our own ability. We doubt that the people that we're talking to, or there's some sort of external situation that's creating a sense of frustration and desperation. Now, if you think of it like dating, right? You go out looking for a partner, boy, girl, or whatever. Now, the more desperate you are, the more needy you are, the more you're hunting, the more you're focused on finding somebody, often the less likely is that you're going to find that person, right? You end up pushing people away and ultimately end up alone. Now, on the other hand, when you're usually got a partner, got a girlfriend, boyfriend, or perhaps you're just not looking for anybody, that is often when they turn up. And I've often seen friends and experienced myself that when I'm not dating, there's no one to date, and when I am dating, there seems to be lots of people interested. Now, it works much the same with fundraising. So what kinds of goals should we be setting? Well, we most certainly should be setting an outcome goal. We should know exactly, specifically what we want to achieve in a particular day, week, or a longer period of time. But this is only the beginning. My business partner, Ellen, and I have developed a really powerful framework for setting the right kinds of goals that lead to long-term success. Now, the framework is called ODP. Now, the O stands for outcome goals. These are the goals that we've just described, right? The final realization of what you want to achieve, the number of signups you want to get in a period of time. Then we have the D. The D stands for development goals. Now, development goals are the skills, abilities that you need in order to more consistently achieve your outcome, right? So in face-to-face fundraising, there's a whole bunch of development areas. You could develop your stopping skills, rapport building skills, your storytelling, asking, closing, your objection handling skills. These are all skill sets that, if developed, you are more likely to achieve your outcome. And finally, we have the P. These are your process goals. These are where all the magic happens. These are arguably the most important. These are the actions and behaviors that you live out, that you work on, that you practice each and every day in order to develop your skills from the development areas. These ultimately will allow you to develop yourself as a fundraiser, meaning that you will achieve your outcomes more consistently. So let me tell you a quick story that will hopefully illustrate my point. So I used to manage quite a large area, quite a big region, a number of cities. And I used to speak to fundraisers on a daily basis. And particularly I used to have conversations when people were struggling, right? Somebody might call me, or I might call them a few hours left of the day and ask them how they're doing. And they're really struggling. They hadn't got any signups yet. They were stressed, they were worried, they were concerned. They felt like they were working really hard, and for some reason, whether it be the weather or the demographic or the foot traffic, or there was always some reason or a number of reasons why they felt they were unsuccessful on that particular day. Nevertheless, they were really trying to hit their target. They were really stressed out about not being able to get there. So from time to time, when this was the case, I used to use a strategy where I would say to the fundraiser, look, so for the rest of the day, the last couple hours of the day, I don't want you to focus on getting any signups. I'm going to be removing any obligation you have for your target today. Now, at the time, I also worked for an organization that worked on an hourly payment rate. So to the fundraiser, they were perfectly happy with this arrangement. It meant all the pressure was off them to perform. And I would say to them, look, I don't want you to focus on getting any signups, but I do want you to focus on building great rapport with people. I want you to enjoy talking to people. I want you to learn something new. I want you to find out something interesting about people that you talk to. I want you to have a laugh. I want you to engage with people in a really real, meaningful way. And at the end of the day, I'm going to give you a call and I want to hear about some interesting conversations you have. That is your focus. That is your target for the day. I want you to just have some great, genuine, lovely interactions, and I want to hear about it at the end of the day. So later on in the day, I would call them back after they had completed their last couple of hours, and I'd speak to them, and they would tell me these stories of the people they'd spoken to, the interesting things they'd learned. Perhaps they would tell me some funny interactions they would have had. And almost every single time that I would do this, they would say to me near the end of the conversation, oh, and by the way, I hit my target. Or, oh, by the way, I also got a couple of signups. And this would happen 9 times out of 10. Because when I removed the pressure of having to perform and focus them on the process, right? So I would focus them in this case on the development area of building rapport, and I would give them a specific process goal, which is have lovely conversations, genuinely interact, find out something interesting, or have an enjoyable, unusual conversation. They would be focused on being present with the person. They wouldn't be focused on how am I going to sign this person up? How am I going to persuade this person? They wouldn't be disconnected, but they would be connected to their work. Not only would they perform better and are more likely to hit their target, but they would enjoy themselves a heck of a lot more. And ultimately, this was a far more effective way to focus. In upcoming videos, I want to explore this model in much more depth. I want to outline the 6 most important development areas in face-to-face fundraising, but then I also want to lay out the 10 to 15 behaviors and actions that you can do on a daily basis to develop each of these areas. So what am I suggesting? Next time you go out, set yourself an outcome goal, know what you want to achieve, and make sure that it's realistic, achievable, and relevant to your particular campaign. Then set yourself a development area or 2. Focus on a specific area of your fundraising that you want to develop. And then finally, set yourself some very specific process goals. Now, it's important that they're specific and measurable. Give yourself a number. Say, I want to have 10 very genuine, real conversations, and then track that, right? Or I want to use vocal variety in 12 conversations today. Set yourself a very specific process goal that you can track and that you can evaluate. And then for the rest of the day, focus on that specific process goal. Now, do everything else that you need to do. So it's not about not doing the other things, but it's about having a specific focus on developing one particular area of a skill. And over time, you will develop that development area, that skill set, far more masterfully than you will just going into each day with a big target in mind and giving your best. Honestly, this is not just something that I do in fundraising. This is a practice that I live out every single day of my life. My partner and I, we have a saying that we say to each other on a very regular basis, which is TTP, which stands for trust the process. When you trust the process and you focus on the here and now, the present, and actually developing skill sets, this over time is what creates mastery, not just in fundraising, but in anything that you put your mind to. So that's it for this video. Until next time, stay inspired and keep fundraising.